Hey guys, welcome to a new video here. Payday 2 in-depth tier listing the perk decks from a 10k hour player. Throughout this video, we will be having multiple different ways of listing the perk decks. The very first one will be my opinions, and here they are. The top 5 perk decks in my opinion are Rogue, Anarchist, Kingpin, Stoic, and Sicario. Keep in mind these are all based off opinions. Here later in the video will be supported more with facts. Okay, so let's start, shall we? Rogue uses 70 passive dodge at max, uses less likely targeted, weapon swap speed, armor piercing bullets, and with this kit it's kinda hard to die. Anarchist is similar in the sense of it's kinda hard to die. You have armor regen in multiple forms, immune to health damage for 2 seconds with a cooldown of 15. We have Kingpin here with 414 HP, being able to regen all of its HP back within just 1 injector use. Can tank full amounts of damage for the team and play for the team. Stoic, being the strongest perk deck of them all, is definitely top of this list because of that reason. Has the most damage reduction, damage over time, and the flask healing ability. And this one, my personal favorite, it's the Sicario. Having stackable dodge, armor regen on dodge, and a smoke bomb to provide cover for yourself and your team. Crew Chief, offering damage reduction, life increase, a percentage of armor increase, a stamina increase to the whole team. Armor, providing itself an armor value and giving the team armor regen, which can be very useful in the sense of team play. Hacker, no, not cheating, but the perk deck, being able to have a high amount of passive dodge and being able to regen health and stun the enemies. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention you heal your teammates too? Yes! Ex-Presidents, having life increase, life regen, one of the very fastest armor regen speed in the game, and dodge. Crook, came here to steal, not kill. We have armor value, armor regen, and dodge all in one build. Burglar, having dodge, less likely targeted, and a very fast armor regen when crouching. Infiltrator, one of the original damage reductions and life regen, up to 40% in 10 seconds. That guarantees half HP every time. Sociopath, having armor value, panic, and lightning fast armor regen. Hitman, focusing akimbos, 1.5 second armor regen no matter the case. It does also have other armor regen effects if your armor doesn't get broken. Muscle, getting targeted for your team, high amounts of HP and HP regen. Grinder, having a decent sized pool of HP, HP regen, and armor piercing bullet chance. Biker, having armor regen and life regen, but more of a budget anarchist and a budget grinder. Gambler, you provide more to your team than you do for yourself. Maniac, what does absorption actually really do? Yeah, I don't know, who knows. Yakuza, giving you extra berserker damage, speed at lower life, and armor regen speed at lower life. Tag Team, HP increase, HP regen, and damage absorption with working with a team. Now we'll be changing focus to survival. These survival tiers are based off my own experiences playing them and watching others play them. With a Stoic build properly set up with a Joker, it is near impossible to get yourself down if playing correctly. Anarchist, having the most broken armor regen in the game, with your passive regen, your damage regen, and bullseye, plus your 2 seconds immune to health damage, it's near impossible to make mistakes in this perk. Ex-Presidents, having 210 life regen at max, having a 0.2 second armor regen on a kill, and dodge all in one build. I find it hard to die inside Ex-Presidents after putting time into it. Rogue, having the most passive dodge out of all builds. This allows the player to spend their skills in other places like more survival based things such as life regen, armor regen, damage output. The only rogues I've ever seen die are the unexperienced ones. The experienced rogues don't make very many mistakes. Crew Chief, having a 400 HP pool, damage reduction, and 238 armor and ICTB. These tools in your arsenal, any experienced player can survive in death sentence with this. Kingpin being a little harsh on the user in the style of play, but exceeding in survival and HP regen through the injector, taking more hits than the Stoic could ever take, unless it's a green dozer. The Sicario, stacking dodge, dodging armor regen. You place a little more survival and HP regen into this build and it's unstoppable. Hacker, instead of playing against the team like the rogue does, it plays with the team, offering life regen to the team, stuns onto the enemies, a slightly higher HP pool, and 20 stackable dodge. Crook, having 175.5 armor in the heavy ballistic vest. Many underestimate how powerful this truly is. Mixing dodge into the play, Crook will feel like it's armorer. Not just inside Crook, but in many builds, you regen armor faster than HP, which comes to the next perk, Armorer. Having armor value and armor regen to the team in one build. Tag team. To the players that know how to play tag team, its survival rate is pretty average. Proven to be tough in the higher difficulties like death sentence, but is fully capable of being done with loads of kills. Infiltrator, having base HP and base armor but high amounts of damage reduction. Also some really nice HP regen to melee. Sociopath, on a kill can achieve 60 armor, and each second after that can keep achieving 60 armor. Causes panic amongst the enemies on a kill, which is a stun. Muscle, being targeted for the team but also causing panic through threat level. Constant HP regen, and one of the highest HP pools in the game. Like Rogue, muscle users that are inexperienced will be the ones that are dying. The experienced users tend to not die. Burglar, almost feeling like Rogue when used, but you'll have a bit more armor regen when crouching. A more of a chance to not be targeted, but to accompany that, you have less dodge. All of Hitman's survival rate is based on armor regen, with grace periods being 0.3 seconds, 1.5 armor regen isn't that effective. The majority of Hitman users will just be first aid kit abusers. Gambler, just like Hitman, most people will accompany it with first aid kits. With how a gambler has to grab ammo to heal itself, it also drops your grace period with this healing, which is proven to be extremely hard to survive in this perk with that. With Biker's base 5 armor, 5 HP every 5 seconds, that is proven to be really hard inside death sentence. With being able to achieve higher HP at lower HP, and lower HP amounts at higher HP, with its 230 HP pool inside of death sentence with 225 damage, making most bikers not survive much. Also, the same concept with your armor. The lower armor you have, the faster regen. The more armor you have, the slower. Grinder, with its life regen having a grace period effect attached to it, makes it surviving in death sentence near impossible. Now of course with first aid kits or the help of a crew chief, it can prove otherwise. Yakuza, with its perk offering just speed, a little more berserker damage, and armor regen speed, it isn't really that good. Not to mention its armor regen is passive. Maniac, its only source of survival in its perk is absorption. This next tier listing will be focusing on HP regen. Now I know not all perk decks have HP regen, but this is a tier listing of the best life regen. Starting that off with Kingpin, being able to achieve 560 HP regen from a shotgun dozer. Since Kingpin can achieve maximum HP from one bullet, that is topping the list. Stoic, being able to achieve full life regen as well, as long as you have the life initially to tank onto. Other than just the flask and Stoic, you also have ability called Calm. The Calm ability is your other source of healing inside Stoic. If you are able to survive the damage over the 4 seconds, you will be healed all the life back which is remaining. Grinder, being able to achieve 322 HP back within seconds, through just damaging the enemies. Ex-Presidents, being able to achieve 210 HP regen amongst an armor regen. That's more than 3/4 of your HP. Muscle, just from the perk, being able to achieve a 3% passive heal every 5 seconds, which is based off the current life form that you're at. So what that means is, at lower HP, that 3% heal will be smaller. At a higher HP form, that 3% heal will be much larger. Infiltrator, being able to melee and be granted 20% HP of the current HP. Hacker, being able to achieve the actual number 20 HP per kill while the ECM feedback is active. This equips yourself with life regen at all times. You also provide 10 HP to your teammates if they get a kill during the ECM feedback. Tag team. When tagging your partner, you'll be able to achieve 7.5 HP. When getting kills yourself, you'll be able to achieve 15. Gambler, achieving life regen through its ammo boxes. With a little messing around with the numbers, you can achieve something like this, between the range of 32 and 40 per box. But this can only happen every 3 seconds. For each player that has more health than you will gain an extra 20% on each heal. Sociopath, being able to achieve on a melee kill 10% of their current life. You are able to use this every second. And then there's Biker, 5 life every 5 seconds. Don't forget to mention it's on a kill. Your teammates' kills will count too, don't worry. Every 10% armor missing will increase the amount of health gained from the kills by 1, giving you an extra 10 HP. Every 10% health missing will reduce your cooldown timer. The next listing will demonstrate the highest HP and armor pools together. Both Kingpin and Muscle both sharing the whopping total of 625. I decided to play Stoic on the side here because it achieves 451, but there is no armor value. Anarchist achieving 515. Crew Chief achieving 512. With your jokers and hostages stacked, have 638. Armorer achieving 510. Sociopath achieving 485. Crook inside a heavy ballistic vest achieving 406. For all of the 322 HP pools, they will be achieving 543. Hacker achieving 497. And then all of the other perks that are 230 HP will be achieving the same as the Stoic, which is 451. The next segment will be focusing on armor regen speed, being the time it takes for your armor to actually regen. Topping this list will be the Sicario, having a 0-second armor regen on a dodge. Ex-Presidents achieving a 0.2 second armor regen. The only way that this can happen is if your armor breaks and you get a kill. Sociopath, granting you 1 second armor regen per kill. Anarchist, granting you 1.5 second armor regen per damage, also having a passive 2-second armor regen in the suit. Hitman, giving you a 1.5 second armor regen if you break your armor, no matter the case. Yakuza, averaging at its lowest life form around a 1.6 and a 1.8 second armor regen. Armorer, giving you a 2.3. Burglar, when crouched, will achieve a 1.7 second armor regen. Crook, achieving inside the heavy ballistic vest a 2.3. And Biker, having a 5-second armor regen per kill. But this can be affected by a whole second if you have no armor. Everything at the bottom either has default armor regen or no armor. Now these are the perks that you can effectively use armor gating, which is the act of getting your armor split and having armor to take another shot. Sicario with the 0-second dodge armor regen. The Ex-Presidents using the 0.2 second armor regen on a kill. Anarchist being granted armor instantly upon armor being split, and then every 2 seconds later the passive armor keeps regenerating. Not to mention the 1.5 second damage regen. Sociopath having a 1 second killing armor regen. Armorer achieving a 2.7 second armor regen that's passive. Hitman being granted the 1.5 second armor regen no matter the case. Burglar with the 1.7 second armor regen if crouching standing still. Crook with the 2.3 second armor regen in the heavy ballistic vest. Yakuza being within the range of 1.6, 1.8 passively. And Biker's armor gate at a 4 second. The next listing will be focusing on the amount of armor the build gives you. Anarchist giving you 400 armor in the ICTB. Armorer giving you 280 armor. Sociopath giving you 255. Crew Chief giving you 238. Crook instead of a heavy ballistic vest giving you 175. Everything under this yields 221 armor. The skill Frenzy Aced will give you 25% damage reduction. 225 damage with 25% damage reduction will be changed to 168. The next listing will be focusing on Dodge, a passive skill. Now some perks will have immune to health damage or a throwable ability giving them exceedingly high powers. Dodge is going to allow you to completely negate the damage, taking a total damage of nothing. Rogue will top this list with the most passive dodge, having 70 when sprinting. Hacker will follow it with 75 when sprinting with the perk deck ability, followed by the Sicario stackable dodge, which can achieve over 100 dodge. Crook inside the heavy ballistic vest can achieve when sprinting 40, inside of a light ballistic vest 55. Burglar as well when sprinting will achieve 55. Ex-Presidents at max having 40 when sprinting. With the Sicario smoke bomb, all these dodge percentages can be increased. Next we'll be listing the perks out in HP value, being the amount of HP that the perks yield. Muscle and Kingpin sharing the HP pool of 414. Tag Team, Gambler, Ex-Presidents, and Grinder sharing the HP pool of 322. Crew Chief and Hacker both sharing the same HP pool of 276. Stoic having the HP pool of 250. The rest of the perks besides one will all yield 230 HP. Besides the one outlier, Anarchist, yielding 115 HP. The next listing will be trying to focus on which perk decks are the best in a solo fashion, using the perk deck's mechanics and abilities. With rogues less likely targeted and 70 passive dodge, it leaves little room for error. Anarchist having armor gating, armor value, and immune to health damage also leaves the user with little to no air. Kingpin having an injector that lasts 6 seconds. It will heal the user upwards to 75% of the damage being dealt to them, and if lower than 50% life, will heal you upwards to 100%. Stoic having damage over time, 75% damage reduction, a flask that gives you all of the current damage back, a calm ability, and also the flask giving you 50% of the damage they have dealt to you in health. Armorer giving you 280 armor back within 3 seconds. Armorer also has immune to health damage. Hacker having passive dodge, stuns, life regen, and a life increase, having multiple tools in its arsenal of survival. The Sicario having passive dodge, stackable dodge when being shot, and armor regen on dodge. Also, the Sicario is near invincible inside of its smoke bomb standing still. Crew Chief offering damage reduction, life increase, armor increase, and stamina increase. Any experienced player can work with this in a solo. Crook offering armor value, armor regen, and dodge. Anything that I don't dodge, I'm going to be able to tank, and my armor always regens faster than my HP. Ex-Presidents offering life value, dodge, armor regen, and life regen. In the terms of death sentence, when you get hit for 225 damage, if I'm able to regen 210 of that damage back with this build, initially I'm getting hit for 15 damage. Sociopath having 1 second armor regen, panic, and armor value. It does come with inherent damage reduction. Muscle having a high HP pool, constant HP regen, and being targeted. You would think being targeted is playing against you, but it forces the player to be very reactive, and giving you a little more insight into what is shooting you. Infiltrator as well, having damage reduction and life regen on a melee. Hitman with that 1.5 second armor regen, it will still prove very tough to survive. Burglar with that less likely targeted, passive dodge, and armor regen when crouching, being mostly an unseen target. Tag team, still being able to survive on its own without another teammate, but it is a lot more of a cautious playstyle. Maniac's absorption can prove to be quite useful, but it's definitely not the most effective. Gambler, with the way that it regens its life, it's nearing impossible in a solo fashion. Biker in the same sense. With its slow HP and armor regen, it's nearing impossible in a solo fashion. Grinder would be really good in solo if it didn't have a grace period effect attached to its HP regen. Yakuza and its armor regen has been proven not so effective in a solo fashion. The next tier listing will be focusing more on support and or a team focused style. The higher tier listed perks directly affect the team, while the C-class perks don't necessarily have something geared towards the team, but they do affect the team in the fashion that you use them. Topping this list will be Crew Chief, being the best support deck in the game, offering all of its perk deck abilities to its teammates. Armorer offering armor regen to its teammates. Hacker is providing stuns and life regen to its team. Sicario giving its teammates cover, dodge, bullet avoidance, minus accuracy on the cops. Gambler to the higher HP pool will prove to be the most effective. Maniac giving damage absorption. If paired with something like a Crew Chief, this can actually be valuable. Sociopath causing panic amongst the enemies on a kill. Allowing your Sociopath to kill things, they will be more effective for the team. Muscle causing panic through threat level will also play towards the team. The muscle also gets targeted for you, which is another way to play for your team. Kingpin doing that same thing as well, being able to take the damage for your team. Tag team also provides damage absorption. Its team functions are more towards itself, as the same for the other two. Ex-presidents having life regen based off its team kills and your own kills. You do not provide much to your team in perk deck abilities, but they greatly affect how you survive. Same goes for Biker, your teammates will greatly affect how you survive. Just like a biker in the real world, you are stronger together, not as a solo individual. Anarchist can greatly affect the team in the sense of tanking damage or straight kills because of your armor regen. Stoic as well can tank damage for the full team. Unlike the Kingpin only having 6 seconds to tank for the team, the Stoic can do this at all times. Now everything listed below this will have similar traits to the Anarchist and Stoic, solely affected by the way that you're playing, then they can affect their team. Rogue and Burglar both share less likely targeted, which is making your teammates get shot for you. But an experienced player will learn how to use this in the team-focused style, seizing the opportunity to attack specials or groups of cops. The next tier listing will be focused on the perk decks that are the easiest amongst DPS output. There really isn't a bad perk for DPS output, but this tier listing is fairly simplistic. Any of the perks that have some form of aggression will be great at DPS output. I won't touch much onto this since it's a fairly simplistic tier list. After making this, Burglar will not be a D class. With Burglars less likely targeted, it allows you to put a lot of DPS output. This listing will be the perks that are the most user-friendly. Anarchist being the most user-friendly perk of them all. It's fairly simplistic, all you have to do is damage something to survive. Armorer offering the user high amounts of armor and quick armor regens. To a new player, this is fairly simplistic to a build. Crew Chief, stacking their life up on each hostage. Bane suggests to the players that you should take civilian. This embeds into the new players' heads that the civilians must be useful. With Crew Chief, the civilians are actually useful, or the hostages I should say in general. With all that HP to the new player and damage reduction from the perk, it's a fairly simple build for them. The Sicario Having stackable dodge and armor regen on dodge. To anyone that hasn't played Sicario, it's actually quite easy to survive in. It makes you do nothing for your armor regen. Grinder, as simple as it gets, you deal damage and you get your life back. Infiltrator, having damage reduction and life regen on a melee, making it a fairly simple build to be using. Crook, having armor regen, armor value. Anyone new to this build, you just have to passively regen your armor and that's it. Hacker, giving you 20 extra dodge if you kill something during your ECM feedback. So if you can't peek something, you get a kill with your ECM and then you can peek because you've got more dodge. Also, while doing this with the ECM feedback, things are going to be stunned, so they can't shoot you. Health regen is triggered as well on a kill. Tag team is user friendly since you can tag your teammate and have them heal you. This allows anyone trying to learn the perk deck to actually get a chance to learn the perk deck and still be healed. Burglar is fairly simplistic. As long as you stay crouched, you will stay alive. Kingpin, being very simple to the experienced user. If you're in trouble, you use your injector. If you need heals, you use your injector. If you need to take a fight, you use your injector. If having to push an objective, you use your injector. Muscle may not seem as obvious, but you need to take damage and then you heal. Stoic, seeming very complex when first looking at it, but you just need to take damage and then you're able to heal that damage back. Stoic is mainly based on being able to survive the damage. Biker being based on kills for armor regen and kills for life regen. So reading all the things that the perk tells you is very confusing to the player. Yakuza's speed and armor regen may seem as simple as it is, but its user friendliness is not very user friendly. Sociopath, focusing most of its abilities on kills. To a new user, it may not be so simple to figure out how to kill things quickly. Hitman, with its simple 1.5 armor regen. To a new user, you may not figure out how to make that be as viable as it is. With the armor regen in this build, it makes you think that you can be aggressive, but in reality this build plays from cover. Same as the Gambler and the Maniac both. Gambler offering life regen on ammo packets. Since there's a grace period effect on that heal, it is not very user friendly. Ex-President's having a lot of tools in its arsenal, but to a new player there is so much here that you don't really know what you should be doing. Inside of Ex-President's, most of my moves are all predetermined, making to a new player that doesn't have that knowledge be pretty rough. Which leaves me at the last one, Rogue, the most experienced based perk of them all. If you cannot capture the concept of dodge, you will not be able to survive, period. The amount of enemies I peek, limiting your exposure. These are concepts even the experienced players cannot capture. Inside of Rogue, all my moves are usually predetermined as well. Which brings me to the last tier listing, which perks are the most versatile in the way that you play them and the way that you build them. Ex-Presidents will be starting off this list. Ex-Presidents by default brings in life regen, armor regen, life increase, and dodge into the build. Already, it is the most versatile build of them all. Next will be Rogue. Being versatile is what keeps you alive in this build. What the Rogue may lack in strength, you will make up for in skill. The creativity of some of the things that you can come up with your smoke bomb, and the possibilities are endless. Infiltrator, with the damage reductions that it offers inside the perk. You can run it with armor, HP, or both. Hitman's versatility is its armor regen, allowing you to run it in a suit, ballistic vest, or even ICTB. You could run dodge Hitman with 1.5 second armor regen. Burglar, with less likely targeted and its armor regen, can help focus the objectives or help kill everything. Biker, seeming like not a very good perk deck, but is very versatile in the way that you can build it, ranging from damage reduction frenzy armor builds to suit. Crew Chief offers a lot to the player, ranging from armor, HP, damage reduction, and stamina. Crook, by default having armored value, dodge, and armor regen. It is already a pretty versatile setup. With tag team's life regen and damage absorption, it makes it for a pretty versatile kit for the player to work around. Hacker's dodge, stuns, and life regen make for a versatile kit for the player to add some armor regen into. Sociopath's armor value, damage reduction, and armor regen, plus its panic causing, this gives you more than enough things to work with inside the build. Generally, all Stoic builds are going to look the same. Kingpin will follow the same thing, though Kingpin users sometimes will be seen with ballistic vest instead of a suit, as the same will Anarchist. Musclers tend to be ran inside of a suit, but there's chances sometimes that you'll find them in ICTB. Yakuza builds will either be in a suit, ICTB, either yielding frenzy or first aid kits. Maniac builds will either focus ICTB and frenzy, or health increase with first aid kits. Grinder's perk deck limits you to a suit or a ballistic vest. Dodge is sometimes accompanied with Grinder. Armorer solely being ran inside the ICTB, but that doesn't mean you can't use it inside ballistic vests. If anyone has made it to this part of the video, I have spent years playing this game, accumulated over 10,000 hours, and the sole purpose of this video is to teach. I've spent my time so that you guys won't have to spend all of your time. Thank you guys for watching. If you did like it, leave a like for me, please. Leaving comments is definitely appreciated. I love interacting with you guys. And if you haven't already, maybe sub to me.